Friends, welcome back to the Destination Baby and Kids YouTube channel. I am Gina. I am here hosting you today to go over something that I have been dying to do a video about, and that is going to be slender car seats. So right now I have an array of what I would call the most popular choices for somebody who's trying to do 3 across on one bench seat. So minivans, sedans, all type of vehicles. Sometimes you'll encounter a situation where you need 3 children all on one row of seating, and these are going to be the seats that will enable you to do that the best. So there are going to be some other types of seats that I'll cover in a different video called secondary slender car seats, but these are going to be my primary slender car seats. So let's dive right in. It's a lot of information, so feel free to, keep up as much as you can, pause it, rewind, whatever you need to do. Over here, we're going to start with this guy, which would be the Clek Foomph. Clek makes 2 different models. They make a Foomph and a Flow. I'm going to introduce each seat. This guy right here is going to be the Diono 3RXT Safe Plus. They make a variety of slender car seats. This guy right here is going to be the Graco Slim Fit 3LX. This is very important because they have an additional model which is also a slim fit, which is not actually slender. I don't really know why they would name them the same thing, but irrespective, the one that we would be focusing on is the one that can fit 3 across, the 3LX. And this guy on the end is going to be the Nuna Exec, shown here in the oak color, sort of atypical color choice, but an excellent car seat choice. So these guys for me are going to be my top ones when people ask me, hey, I have a 3 across situation, what would you recommend? These are the ones that consumers frequently ask me about, so I've made a list of things to discuss about all of them for you. We're going to start over here with the Clek. So the Foomph is going to be 17 inches wide, and it has an 11-inch width at the interior of the seat. Price ranges from around $550 to $600 depending on which color you want. This one here is shown in a color called Winter Mammoth, which is a wool, and so it's inherently flame retardant free. And then the white plastic, which is really cool. They do offer their seats in either black or white plastic. That's pretty sweet. If you're looking for something a little more stylish, definitely an awesome decision. Rear facing, it's going to go 14 to 50 pounds. The rest of these seats will work with children as little as 5 pounds. In order for the Clek to achieve that, you would have to purchase a separate piece called the infant thingy that would enable a child 5 pounds to sit in the seat. So for rear facing, we're at 14 to 50 pounds, 25 and 43 inches. And they also would need to sit upright. For a forward facing, we're going to go 22 to 65 pounds and from 30 to 49 inches. So I'm going to touch on the pros and cons of each one of these seats, and then I'm going to wrap up at the end sort of with like my overall thoughts. Pros on this guy is going to be, it's one of the few seats that you can recline it while it's installed. So almost every other car seat, you're not going to be able to get any recline adjustment once the seat is installed. This seat, you're going to be able to do that. No question that Clek is going to be an industry leader for safety. So they offer transparent testing, which many other brands don't have. They're also going to really be in a class by themselves, particularly with this Foomph model. It has the React system, which is the rapid energy absorbing crumple technology. Currently, there's nothing else on the market with that, so it's definitely an awesome seat. Their Flow, which is their less expensive narrow option, also has EACT, which is similar, but just not the rigid energy absorbing crumple technology, not rapid. But they have EACT, so it's a similar deal. All that means is that it's taking the motion from an accident and slowing down the process of it getting transferred to the child's body. The more we can slow that down, that transfer of motion, the safer the child is. So we love that. It's also going to be a great seat for what's referred to as extended rear facing, meaning because it holds 50 pounds in a rear facing mode, kids can sit in it backward facing longer. We always want to promote the best behavior, and so we're able to hit that with this guy. They will have the best recycling out of anybody, no question. The seat's made in Canada. I would say it probably has the cleanest fabrics. Also, I'm trying to think. It's cleanest fabrics. Yeah. So Cons. Let's talk about the things that I don't love about this seat. So it has a manual rethread harness. That means as the child gets bigger and taller, as you can see here, there's different harness slots that we're going to have to physically rethread as they get taller. Typically this isn't a huge issue, but in a 3 across situation, it can be really problematic because if you've spent all this time working really difficultly to get your seats installed perfectly, and then your child hits a growth spurt, you would have to uninstall this seat to have access to be able to do that adjustment, especially in a forward-facing mode. So I'm not really fond of that. It has a difficult, in my opinion, forward-facing belt lock-off. The rear-facing belt lock-off for this seat is awesome. The forward-facing for me can be hit or miss. I know that that's not true for everybody in every situation, but I will say as a professional and someone who does this a lot, it can be a little frustrating even for me to bump into that. So I think as an average consumer, it would be something I'd want to be aware of. Ideally, this seat will work best forward facing when you use rigid latch, and typically in a 3 across situation, you won't be able to. So you might be paying up for a feature on this one that you wouldn't use, in which case we'd recommend you getting a flow. And then the other thing that's hard about this seat is that it does have side walls that are quite pronounced and high, especially in rear facing mode. That just means if you have a heavy kid, it's harder to get them in and out of the seat sometimes because you have to get over that piece. It's great for safety, but it is something to be cognizant of with this seat, especially because it does sit up a little bit higher in rear facing mode than most of the other seats. Another drawback is it's a little long nose to tail. I would argue that it holds a really big kid in rear facing, so in those situations it will be longer nose to tail. All right, so that's going to be the Foof and Flow from Clek, made in Canada. Now we've got Diono. This is going to be a brand that's been around for a super long time. This version here is the 3RXT Safe Plus. They make a variety of seats that range in price from as little as $199 up to $539. With essentially the same seat skeleton, but just a variety of different convenience features. This was sort of the middle of the road option. I think I got it on sale for around $300. I think the typical price is maybe $350 or $379. The thing about this seat is, okay, so let's get into this guy. This one is 17 inches wide. It's going to have 11.75 inches of width on the interior. Why does that matter? I just thought it was interesting that all of these seats are narrow, but this one had the widest seat interior. So if you've got a bigger child, that might be something to be cognizant of, which is really nice. Rear facing, 5 to 40 pounds, 18 inches to 44 inches. Forward facing, 22 to 65 pounds, 30 inches to 57 inches. And booster mode is 40 to 120 pounds, 40 inches to 57 standing inches. Pros. The seat does fold. So the seat can fold up if you're going to travel with it and you want it to be flat. You can have the butt rest fold into the rest of the seat. You can put it with backpack straps or a messenger strap and carry it around the airport. It's a very nice option in that regard. It is largest interior room, comes with cup holders. Cup holders on this guy over here, the Clek, are sold separately. This guy, as well as the Clek, they both have what's referred to as an anti-rebound bar, so we're not seeing that in forward-facing mode. When you watch my video of a triple install with these products, which is also going to be available, you'll be able to see it set up in rear-facing mode with that feature, but for rear-facing, it's a great feature to have. We absolutely recommend it. So we do love that it does have the anti-rebound bar. And it comes on and off a lot more easily than it used to. Some of the updates on the seat have been pretty nice. Truthfully, I've had this seat, and I've had this seat, all 4 kids in my life. So I feel pretty confident explaining about these things. The other thing about Diono is they make great accessories. So if you want a mirror, they have a crash-tested mirror. They have a crash-tested mat for underneath. So does Clek. So they do make good accessories. The cons of this seat. So there are some things that I'm really irritated about with this seat. They've redesigned it multiple times over the years. They refuse to give us any type of lock-offs for forward or rear-facing installation. In my opinion, if you're going to do a 3 across brag right to your consumer, the least you can do is give them a lock-off to make a seatbelt installation easy. And the reason why I say that is typically in most cars, you're not going to be able to use the latch for 3 across. Most cars don't even have the latch set up that way, but theoretically if you did, 9 times out of 10 the spacing is not appropriate to be able to use it that way. So it really bothers me that for the belt installations, you don't have any belt lock-offs, which means the seats can be kind of slidey. You get some lateral slide and some movement. It's still technically a correct installation, but they could remedy that by giving it the added benefit of a belt lock-off. So, Diono, if you're listening, please start including that. That would be like a 1,000,000% improvement. The other thing is that this harness, even though it says it's adjustable with the headrest, they don't claim that about the harness. They just claim that the headrest is adjustable. You see here, it's a manual rethread harness like the Clek. So we would have to uninstall it, make that adjustment, and then reinstall the seat back into the vehicle, which is stupid. I mean, just have it attached to the headrest so that that piece can move up and down with this. I think that's a pretty simple solution, which I would like to see on other models moving forward. And then it's the hardest install of all of these seats in either rear facing or forward facing because it doesn't have belt lock-offs. Additionally, the seat is very long nose to tail. It's so long that they make an accessory piece called an angle adjuster, which would give you a more upright seated position in rear facing mode. Mouthful, but that just means that the person in front of the seat will have more room not to be kissing an airbag or be very, very pushed forward toward their dashboard. So again, this seat definitely can do a lot. You have to be really, really proficient to make it do all the things they say it can do. So yeah, it does it. I don't know how easy it would be for the average consumer. This guy here is a newer one for me. I do not sell Graco. Graco is a mass merchant brand, but I have run into this little guy in the wild, and so I did want to focus on it because there are some really awesome things about this seat for its price point. So this one's going to retail around $279. It's 16.75 inches wide, so it's the narrowest of all the ones that we're looking at. The seat the seat width here on the inside, when we take out all the additional padding, is the narrowest as well. So you're only at about 10.25 inches of seat width. And then rear facing, this holds the least amount of weight of all these seats. So this one's 50, that one's 50, this one's 50. This guy's only gonna hold up to 40 pounds rear facing. And then their head would always need to be 1 inch below this handle. There's no real like height guideline there. For forward facing, the seat will go 22 to 65 pounds and hold 49 standing inches. So that's pretty useful. And then this guy's also a booster. So this one will booster 40 to 100 pounds and from 43 inches to 57 inches, and they have to be 4 years old. So you've got rear facing, forward facing booster. Pros. The cost, it's very cost effective. It's at a $279 price point, so we do love that. It's got breathable material. As you can see with this seat, when I raise the harness and lower the headrest, the harness is moving along with the headrest. So we have multiple different positions, but this piece is moving with it. So depending on which child is sitting in the seat, if we wanted to make this adjustment, we would not have to uninstall the seat in the vehicle in order to leave it safe for whatever kid is using it, which I absolutely love. So this to me is a feature that I think is really critical, and I'm glad that they have the no rethread harness. This one comes with cup holders. This guy also came with cup holders, but this one comes with cup holders. This fabric is theoretically easy to clean, so they have a whole system to take it off and remove it. It also, as you can see here, has the little elastic harness retainers. I'm a total sucker for that feature. I love it. I want the harness to come apart and stay apart so that when my child is getting in and out, we're not digging those pieces out from underneath their bodies. So I think it's nice that they've included that. And I will say that like this seat, like this one, when they're in rear facing mode and forward facing mode, they're a little bit lower profile, which means that it's easier for a child or an adult to get a child in and out of a low profile seat versus a seat that has very high sidewalls. So there's a perception that high sidewalls feel and look safer to the consumer. Low profile seats have their advantages as well. If you're dealing with a really, really big kid, taking them in and out of the seat, you may not want to have to do that much curvature lifting all the time. So it's a nice feature. It's a little bit lower profile. The cons. Low rear-facing weight capacity. 40 pounds is low compared to 50 pounds, the rest of them. I would still say 40 pounds is pretty reasonable, but if you wanted to do extended rear-facing, I would encourage you to get a seat with a larger rear-facing weight capacity. The other thing, in rear-facing, this is the only seat out of the one that we're looking at that doesn't have an anti-rebound bar. So I really like that feature for rear-facing. It's not required in the United States, but I do think it helps mitigate motion and movement in an accident, so it would be nice to see them include that in subsequent models. The other thing that's weird about this seat, or not weird, but I found foolish, is that there's no belt lock-off in rear-facing mode. Forward-facing mode, they do include a belt lock-off, so it's actually pretty easy to see. Pretty easy to use. It's a true lock off, so you don't have to also lock off the seatbelt, which is nice. But in rear facing mode, they don't include anything like that, which again gives us that opportunity for more lateral slide, meaning left to right movement when we install the seat. I really wish that they would include that. Lock offs on a car seat are so important, and it's so irritating that more companies don't do this. So yeah, if you're listening, Graco, I would love it if you could put a lock off on the seat and then like an anti-rebound feature. Additionally, this seat has a really, really low amount of bike helmet foam. So there's EPS and EPP shock foam. That's the foam that is like for bike helmets. Most car seats are lined, especially premium car seats, are lined very, very thoroughly throughout the entire seat. Like they brag about how theirs goes all the way down in through the tailbone. Here, there's definitely that bike helmet foam around where the child's head is, but where the body is, it's just mostly steel and plastic with some fabrics. So again, I think the shock foam would be a nice feature to include moving forward. I'm sure that would increase the cost, and they are trying to keep it at a specific price point. So that's going to be Graco Slim Fit. Definitely a nice little option. Slim Fit 3LX. Now, over here, at the very end, we've got the Exec. This one is going to be the most expensive. This one is going to be $750. It's rear facing, forward facing, and a booster seat. Comes with cup holders. Comes with really, really complete padding. And I'm just going to announce it now. There is no question, there's no construction of reality that this isn't 1,000 times easier to install than the rest of these car seats. I've done enough installations. I've done hundreds, thousands of installations at this point in my career. I've done plenty of 3 across, and I can tell you that this one is the easiest, even though it's the widest of everything we're looking at. So the width here is 18.25, and the seat width on the interior is 10.75. The pros of this seat are going to be that it is stylish. It's got the most padding. It's all flame retardant free fabrics. It's got adjustable leg room, so as your kid gets taller, you can actually adjust the leg length. The anti-rebound bar is built into this seat. With the rest of these seats, we actually have to put it on manually. Here, it's just built in, which is nice. This has 2 cup holders attached to the seat, so you can never lose them. It also has ventilation throughout the plastic that can go through the material, which I really love, so your child will stay cool. It also has harness retainers on the side. They are magnetic, so it's just holding right now, which I don't know if the camera can see it, but it is a really nice feature. So when I say this one's the easiest to install, I'm not making that up. They've done a beautiful job with this product